We've got ones that can see. Welcome, everybody, to today's show. Amazon is bringing their palm scanning technology to health facilities. And for anybody out there that doesn't know about Amazon's palm payment, they have been rolling this out at locations like Whole Foods, where people can use biometrics to exit the store with their products. So they can make a purchase without handing over cash, without handing over a credit card. And all they have to do is have their palm scanned, their genetics scanned. This is biometrics. We've even seen some retailers out there doing this now with retina scan, being able to go up to the cashier and have their eyeballs scanned as a way of payment. This is what we're headed towards. And I'm talking about this now when it comes to the health facilities, because we know about Amazon having the ability and using this technology at stores. That's not new news. But what is new news is hearing that now you could go to the doctor's office and instead of getting out a credit card, instead of getting out your health insurance card, instead of getting out your license and letting them scan your license, now you could just have your palm scanned, and all that information will go directly to the interface that the doctor's office is using. And this is a big deal because this is more preparation for a digital ID. And when you hear about the digital ID is not physical, obviously, it's digital. And it might start off as something where it's just a picture of your license on your cell phone screen, but eventually this is all embedded in you. Just like the same way you would check out at a store with the Amazon Palm payment, you will be walking in and out of stores and your body will be scanned because this is going to be embedded in your genetic code. So for people that don't know, the digital ID has everything in it. It is a comprehensive digital identity stored on a device like a smartphone, encompassing all personal identification details such as driver's license information, passport details, medical records, banking information, voting registration, and potentially even biometric data, allowing a user to verify their identity across various online and offline services with a single digital credential, often managed through a secure digital wallet app. Keep in mind that mentioned right there, a device like a smartphone. The transition from the smartphone to the brain-computer interface, right? Elon Musk, Nokia, Apple, these big corporations are already talking about how smartphones are going to become obsolete, and brain-computer interfaces like Neuralink are the way forward. So think about that. When they say smartphones are going to be obsolete, obviously, they're not saying that everybody's going to throw out their phone and we're going to go back and live like we're on Little House on the Prairie, unfortunately, because that's really the way to save humanity would be to go backwards at this point, not forwards. But if the phone's going to be obsolete, people need to realize that what a brain-computer interface is, and this is technology inside of your body, and it comes via editing your genetics. So I'm covering this because now we're seeing a transition from Amazon Palm Pay to Amazon Palm scanning technology to bring up your personal information, your health information. This is a big deal. This is the beginning of getting people used to biometric data, using biometrics to have their personal information stored and then accessed, and then going from just even having palm payments to make a purchase to palm payments to bring up personal information like your medical records. And for anyone out there that's confused, maybe you're new to this. I don't expect everybody to know all the things that I've discussed over the years. This is what the Amazon Palm payment looks like for anybody out there that's not familiar. And this technology is already out there, and it's been out there for a few years and is used at places like Whole Foods.
Meet Amazon One, the fast, convenient, contactless identity service that lets you enter, identify, and pay using only your palm. Signing up is simple. Sign in with your Amazon account and create your free profile. Take a photo of your palm, or both palms, Then visit any Amazon One device to enter, identify, or pay with your palm, and we'll activate your profile. Get started today.
If you don't have your wallet, there's no problem. Just scan your palm to pay.
Amazon One is a payment system that has been tested at several stores around the Bay Area, and now it may be coming to a grocery store near you.
Ground Force Justin Campbell has more on how it works and the privacy concerns.
Just shot of your palm real quick. We may scan it.
I hope you don't use that.
The idea of using your palm to pay doesn't feel right for this Whole Foods customer, but others like the idea.
I don't know who else can get into my palm, really, but I'm not really against it.
The technology coming to the Bay Area Whole Foods stores over the next few weeks works like this. Amazon says no two palms are alike. They use vision technology. You hold your hand above the device, which scans and takes less than a minute to create a palm signature. Your palm is connected to your credit card online, so whenever you want to pay, all you have to do is hover your palm.
Too intense. It's a little crazy.
This customer is worried about privacy.
I think using your DNA and stuff is just too much to give out.
There's a lot of different variables that need to be considered.
Ralph Aceves with Hacker Strike says in general the technology is safe, but he does have concerns.
The data that is being downloaded from the cloud to be able to know who you are based on your palm stored in the device.
Amazon says palm images are not stored on the device. The images are encrypted and sent to the cloud. Aceves' other concern is phishing.
For example, at a grocery store, there's no one around, and someone could potentially replace that scanning device with a fake scanning device, just like they do today with credit card readers, right?
Aceves says he believes the technology is the future because it's convenient for consumers.
Not my palm? Jeez, come on.
Reporting in San Jose, Justin Campbell, Cron 4 News.
So that's what they tell you the future of payments are. But what they're not getting out there yet is they're not informing you that this is the future of everything. The future of everything, what I believe is the mark of the beast, because all of this information is going to be embedded inside of your body via technology. The technology is going to move from being in your hand and on your wrist to being underneath your skin. In Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 through 17, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And think about if all payments turn to biometrics, right? Because think about how right now they're forcing you to do all these things on your smartphone. When you go to the airport, they expect you to pull up a QR code on your phone, right? Well, eventually you are the QR code. Because think about it. When they're saying, well, you got to go to the airport, we're not going to give you a physical ticket anymore. It's bad for the environment. It takes too long. Bring it up on your phone. We expect everybody to have a smartphone by now. And if you don't, well, I guess you can't fly, right? Pretty much that's what they're forcing people into. We're that really getting as close as possible to them removing, printing out boarding passes, okay? So when you're at that point where you say, well, I got to go to the airport, I have my boarding pass on my phone, it becomes normal. They've gotten people conditioned into that, right? Well, then they're telling you that the phone's going to be obsolete. So if the phone's obsolete and these methods of payment, these methods of boarding passes, all these things that you see now that you do with your phone, even going to a restaurant, they make you scan a QR code to bring up the menu on your phone. Well, if the phone is gone, like Elon Musk and all these people say, where are you going to do all this stuff? Are we going to go backwards then? Are we going to get rid of the phone and have paper menus again? Are we going to have boarding? No, of course not. Because biometrics and the mark of the beast tie in with one another. And anyone out there that says there are people who have already received the mark, I understand what you're thinking because you're close to the truth, or at least what I believe to be the truth. You have every right to disagree with me. But last I checked, when they rolled out that vaccine a couple of years ago, a lot of us didn't take it, including myself, of course. And I can still buy and sell very easily. But the tie-in, of course, with that experiment is how many people were willing to go and get it. And of course, there are people who have this type of technology already inside of their bodies, but they haven't made it yet so that you'd have to be able to have that in order to buy or sell. Well, if we transition all of this stuff and they get rid of cash and then they get rid of a phone, How do you expect to go to a store and make a purchase when there's nobody at a cashier desk anymore? And you just walk in and walk out freely, but it's all inside of you. Your ID is inside of you, your medical records. All of this stuff is embedded in you. That's what people don't seem to understand. When you hear them talking about gene editing, this is what they're talking about. They're talking about editing you, and they're going to edit this into your body, okay? So think about it from the standpoint of blockchain. For anyone out there that doesn't know how blockchain works, blockchain is a distributed database that stores information in blocks. Blockchain tech is used to store and authenticate data, and it has many applications involved in it. Bitcoin being one of them. Bitcoin operates on blockchain. So if blockchain is storing all of these things inside of it, one of which would be cryptocurrency, which would be digital payment. In addition to that, it'll be storing your medical records. In addition to that, it'll be storing your banking information. Blockchain-based systems can enable individuals to update their digital identities or financial accounts directly through Neuralink's brain-computer interface, while Starlink provides the infrastructure for instant and secure global access. So the technology is inside of you. The Starlink is around you. You are connected to the Internet of Bodies. And BlackRock also has neurotech. We have Neuralink. We have Synchron. There's a bunch of companies who are already doing this. And these companies are the ones who are developing the brain-computer interface that'll eventually be in you. This database that they're talking about is you. And remember how they market blockchain to people. It can't be corrupted. It's decentralized, enhanced security, distributed ledgers, faster, quicker, safer. This is how eventually this will be marketed. And I've covered this in detail before. Don't forget the articles that were out there. The plan to put Bitcoin in mouse DNA with a genetically engineered virus. Well, we all remember the genetically engineered virus, but do people out there understand what this means? Putting Bitcoin in DNA, they don't seem to understand what that even means. It means digital currency inside of the mouse. And guess what? They're not running these experiments because there's a future world where Mickey Mouse and all these mice are going to be running around making payments digitally with biometrics, right? This, of course, is for all of us. The plan to put Bitcoin and all of these things inside of you. And it'll all be through gene editing, the thing you keep hearing about, gene editing. So let me play for you some clips so you can try to piece this together. Maybe it'll help you more about why they're so hell-bent on a digital ID and what the digital ID really means. It really means getting inside of your body. And it's more than just a microchip. It's more than just nanotech. It's changing your genetic code, which changes you. It changes what it means to be human. God gave you your own specific DNA. I have mine, you have yours. I often use the comparison to these crime shows or these crime stories you hear where there's cold cases and it gets solved 50 years later because of DNA. They can find this guy, a needle in a haystack, right? Some guy who wasn't even a suspect's been arrested. They found his DNA, and now, of course, they have this DNA technology where they could trace the DNA, and of course, it's a 100% match, right? It's got to be this guy. There's no evidence that proves that he was there, or that he did it, or blood on his clothes, or wasn't. No, it doesn't matter. The DNA is the only evidence because he has his own unique, specific DNA, and that's what they want to alter. God gave us unique DNA to ourselves, all individually, made us all individuals, and they want to turn us, of course, into iron mixed with clay. They want to turn us, Elon Musk said it himself, creating a neural lace is the thing that really matters for humanity to achieve symbiosis with machines, a collective consciousness through altering your DNA. Here are some clips about the digital ID, about what it looks like, even the smart mark clip that so many of you always ask me to put in my videos from Stretch Armstrong, where they show you the smart mark, because of course they're referencing the mark of the beast and they're referencing what society is going to look like. Keep in mind all the things I just discussed. Keep in mind the palm payment, biometrics, going from payment to processing and be able to access your medical records. And remember what they're doing, these experiments that they're running on mice are being run on humans as well. It's about editing your genetic codes, and it'll all be through a digital ID.
The Matrix. Control. The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
Future, you will have such a good digital twin that you'll be able to go into the metaverse, into a virtual reality world, turn a dial, pull a switch, feel around, and actually change it in the real plant.
Absolutely. And this is not far off. I mean, the physical and the digital worlds, they will grow together, and the result is exactly what you just said.
I wanted to ask when you all think we're going to move from this form factor to something that's on your face, glasses, and when computing's all on the edge.
All right, 50 seconds. Who wants to answer quickly?
I think it will go. It will. First of all, it will definitely happen. I was talking about 6G earlier, which is around 2030. I would say that by then, definitely the smartphone as we know it today will not anymore be the usual kind of the most common interface. Wow. Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies.
By the sudden rollout of Rook Unlimited's most fantastic device ever, the Smart Mark. Because the Smart Mark is more than just a phone. It's part of you. Use it as cash and even shoot video. Distribution points are all over the city. The Rook Unlimited Smart Mark is worth the wait.
The Smart Mark has brought order to my life.
And the best part? It's absolutely free.
23% of the population has been given the Smart Mark, number one.
Time to test our system, Let's put our new recruits to work, subtly.
We should find the Flex Fighters.
I ought to find the Flex Fighters.
We should find the Flex Fighters.
You call yourself a man of science. World order is our destiny. Submit to a Smart Mark and join the glorious victory of order over chaos.
People think Smart Marks are brand new Rook tech that will improve their lives.
But your chip makes it possible to control everyone in Charter City, whether they're marked or not.
Digital ID for me is a very big part of the future, and let me explain why. So if you take the changes you've been making at a bank, because you've become not just a bank, but also a technology company, right? And you've been using technology to change the whole way you interact with your customers. So digital ID is, for me, absolutely crucial because, for example, on COVID, what is the problem with this coronavirus? The problem is it's not a disease that's so serious that it's like the plague, right? Most people who get it will survive it. However, it's bad enough, and we all know people who've had it and had it badly enough that you don't want to get it. So the problem is you have to lock down the entire economy in order to deal with the small number of people who get it and are going to suffer badly. A way out of this is to be able to test people several times and for people to actually have a biometric identity which can say, look, I've been tested or I've had the disease and here are my antibodies, so that life can get back to normal. So your digital ID can play a part in COVID, but also if you think of the transactions that you want to do now with your customers, it's much simpler for them if they have a digital identity. Or you take the big issue in the Western world today, which is, quite apart from COVID, I would say is worries about immigration, who has the right to be in your country, who has the right not to be. Without a form of identity, it's very hard to tell who's got a right to be in a country, who's not. So inevitably, governments are going to move in this direction. Absolutely inevitably.
Why? Because in order to open an account, you need to have an ID.
Right.
And I have to say that when I started this job, there were actually very little countries in Africa or Latin America that had one ubiquitous type of ID, and certainly that it was digital, and certainly that it was biometric. And we've really worked with all our partners to actually help that being, to grow this. And the interesting part of it is that, yes, it is very necessary for financial services, but not only. Sure. It's also good for school enrollment. It's also good for health, who actually got a vaccination or not. It's very good to get your subsidies, from the government. So this has not only effect to the financial services. It's a very important issue.
So let's have a digital health certificate acknowledged by WHO. If you have been vaccinated or tested properly, then you can move around. So for the next pandemic, instead of stopping the movement of the people 100%, which clog the economy globally, you can still provide some movement of the people. Indonesia has achieved, G20 country has agreed to have this digital certificate using WHO standard, and we will submit into the next World Health Assembly in Geneva as the revision to international health regulation. So hopefully for the next pandemic, we can still see some movement of the people, some movement of the goods, and movement of the economy.
So it is a big deal when we hear about Amazon using their palm scanning technology and transitioning from just payments to medical records, because this is really revealing what the digital passport that they were talking about in 2020 and 2021 when Tony Blair and all these scumbags were coming out. And what were they saying? We need a digital ID. We need to know who has it and who doesn't have it. We need to know this. We need to know that. We have to know these things about people. They weren't just talking about some type of thing you scan on your phone. That's the first transition, getting a digital ID, having it accessible on your smartphone, but it's going to transition from your phone to being embedded in your genetic code. And that, of course, is what I believe is the mark of the beast, because just like the way the world is now, right, they've made it so there's places that you can't use cash anymore. All these stadiums that are cashless, right? You got to have a phone or a credit card. You try to go to the game, guess what? You can't get in. We don't give you a physical ticket anymore. Push people out. Next thing is what? All of this stuff with your phone. Well, if they tell you that your phone's going to be obsolete, then how are you going to get into these places, right? How are you going to get into a restaurant? How are you going to get into or get on a plane at an airport, right? If the phone is obsolete and the only way you could do it now is via your phone, because it's going to be you. It's going to be embedded in you, and it's going to be via biometrics. You'll be able to walk on the plane without anything other than being scanned. They'll market it to you as being convenient, no more lines, right? No more hacking identities. But the reality is that you will be the one who was actually hacked, because when you have a brain-computer interface, okay, it's not just your brain that's interacting with the computer. It's a computer that's interacting with your brain, and that's really what it's all about. And that's what Elon Musk means when he's talking about collective consciousness, when he's talking about achieving symbiosis with machines, because you will no longer be human. You'll be, in a sense, superhuman. Some of these things they've been marketing to you over the years. These movies are not out there coincidentally about superheroes and superhero powers and them talking to you about what superhero power would you want? Would you want to fly? Would you want to be able to be stronger than everyone else? This is all about taking a human being and transitioning a human being into a transhuman. And I'm not talking about a transgender. I'm talking about mixing iron and clay, man and machine. And they tell you themselves that this is where we're headed with the smartphone going obsolete, going to brain-computer interfaces, which would require Neuralink, which you do not need to have put in your body via having your head cut open in a surgery. This can be something that is injected into you. So pay attention to this stuff. It's important to watch when they put stories like this out there, because a lot of people are already desensitized. So people probably saw it and they say, well, what's the big deal? I've already heard about the palm scanning tech. It's been out for 3 to 4 years, man. What are you talking about, Call? Yeah? Well, now we're talking about going to the store versus going to the doctor's office. The big difference, right? Because now we're talking about your medical records, your medical history. And then what's the next thing after that? Well, it'll continue. It'll evolve. More and more things that are going to be a part of you and your digital identity. They'll start using and transitioning people into doing this at the doctors, doing this at the dentist, doing this at the airport, doing that. And then eventually it goes from just your palm to, of course, being all in you in your digital ID. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.